jump out the window, boy. I heard you jumping out the window. You like the windows being open now? It ain't too hot, right? No AC for us no more. Hopefully the electric bill go down to about $20. 20, 30, I think it was only $25, $30. Some is 40 or 60. Everybody comes, the kids come. Oh man, I'm sorry. Okay. Wake up. All right, well, Ronald, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's happening? What's happening? I'm freaking tired, man. I just dozed for about, I guess about 38, 40 minutes. I still gotta go around to the store and grab some more water right quick. I mean, I've got tons. I can show you this, but that's emergency. Because that water's a little different. Man. I could have stayed asleep. I gotta go outside and get some sun. Oh, man. Whew. Let's get it right into this reading. Man, I'm tired. I do not like driving till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Them days is... man. You can stay. You can stay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Kids are sleeping in. Oh, no. It was a great, wonderful time. I'm out. Don't worry, man. I got you with the beams. It was like cool, man. Even though my high beams are very, very bright, but to have those deers is a way to. You gotta see how it is, man. The road be like this, and then there's a crevice in between that if you just slightly go that way, I mean. You gotta know how to drive on the res. Like you gotta know. If you don't know how to drive on the res, well, you're gonna be walking a long way one way, a long way the other way. And when I say long, I'm not talking about some little skippity pat, like some little I'm on my paws. And no. And then you never know if it's gonna be some wild dogs run up on you, acting like jank. Those African. I'm serious. Dogs take your ass butt down. The ones that are surviving out there, that means that they're killing horses and fighting coyotes. Yeah. I've come across them a few times. They just walk right by me, and I'm dead serious. I was walking with and there was a whole bunch of dogs falling out in the by the tumbleweeds and it's not grass out there, but where the trees and the mountain cliffs and all that. There's a lot of greenage, and you can see them. I see them. I'm like, there they are. About 6 or 7 of them. They're just looking, but maybe it was heat. I don't know. But they didn't come over. It's like they thought they were hitting. You hear them ruffling, and you see the little tails, and you know what I mean? Out there getting the walk on. I didn't say nothing. I was like, you come over here, you got a big meal waiting. No, I was kidding. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get this right here. So, nobody was asking, but I keep saying it's Italian guy, I don't know how the platforms are established on YouTube. I know that this individual, I'm gonna give you his name. I don't know if, I think his name is in it, but I think it's called something else now. But when he first started, I don't know if the video's there either. He's talking to the guy when he makes a statement about our country and the New York City, all these things. I shared pictures of New York before these fake, like the Empire State Building, they didn't build that. I don't care what pictures they show you. I told you, the camera's not new. We built that a long time ago. The Empire State Building in its origin was part of Tartar. But then they come along and they wanted to succeed. They want to see if they can push beyond that. A lot of the bridges. If you ever rode on some of these bridges and see how they're all made, like even the train trestles that were made out of pine, out of spruce and uh, I forget the woods that they use, mahogany, very strong wood. If you think they built that, if you really believe they built those, they couldn't wait to destroy the majority of them. To get rid of that's old technology. Like right now, we can go underground. If we were like 500,000 strong, we're going back down into the recesses of the place that we created, not the other. And it was purpose of fighting under the ground as well. But they couldn't stop. But the problem is, the whole Yamasee Nation doesn't know how to come together again. The Muskegee or regardless of how they spoke, in the documents I saw, like the Cree, the Seminole, who are the Yamasee as well as the Anayoya, and a number of other so-called tribes and shit. But the document showed that they were Negroid. Australia, they were Negro, nobody else, nothing else. But then when you want to see this Italian dude, for the individual that sent me a letter, that message, like, stop being stupid and stop being lazy. His name is Santos Bonacci or something like that. Santos Bonacci. I think it goes by astrology guy or Mr. whatever the frig he might have up there now. Because they did their best to lock this guy up, all kind of crazy. But that statement alone rattles, the pedal skins. I can't do nothing about people. And he's not the only one, though. He's even communicated who weren't pedophiles and homosexuals, so-called priests of the Vatican or Jesuits, who are excommunicated, who've been speaking this truth too. You gotta use key words. The politicians who slip up, and then they get these dumb house Negroes of the worst kind, paid, mind you, to sit in front of these individuals and seek a false, like, what nigga can seek an apology from me? There's a whole lot of folks talking about, yeah, we got Cherokee in my family. It's always the goal. And I'm like, so you got some Negro in your family? Huh? I said Negro is synonymous with dark skin by the Spanish term. And they really did say Negro beginning and Negro de terra. Terra means is in old. It's mind-boggling people having a hard time because they don't want to believe it. And then when you start talking about what's your blood work, what's your genealogy, when people want to get into DNA, what's your haplogroup? And then the true history, and we're reading it, right? And then people have a hard time initiating the first responsible response. Let's put it like that. Because how can you accept, when you tell, like right now, we got a lot, how can you accept being told one thing and then all of a sudden told another thing? You got a lot of dumb Negroes running around, I'm black, and they don't have a clue as to what they're saying, or how stupid they sound. Because they've been saturated with that BS. People don't know nothing about the wars. They don't know nothing about the treaties, the fact that those treaties don't exist with these individuals. But how are the Mongols going to be over here and then we're going to accept all these pale skins running around talking about the Indian on the East Coast? Especially in California. There's liberals, these Ashkenazis are really screwed the world, screwed the pooch here. Problem is we still here. The Mayan, the real one. Not some people who accept through education system, because if it wasn't for the education system, we'd still be known. You got Dances of Wolves, you got Ionized Code, you got everybody we keep talking about when the flip happened to push these different narratives. Now everybody's going to accept that, but beforehand, when Jim all these Sammy Davis, Europeanized, half Indianized, and all these other individuals who were playing the Cowboys or the Indians, just dismissed that. And that was part of the parents' curriculum. Had a hard time accepting because their vision given to them was to hate the so-called Negro. You can't make this up. How hard we fought in the wars, everything. The fact we rebuilt this country, not you know, they always attempt to put a Mongolian who's a Sicilian or Italian. I did the research on that so-called Native American and worked on the goddamn, uh, not 19, it was 1970 or, no, one of the, before the trade centers, worked on another tall building. And I'm like, he's Sicilian. Another ionized Cody. And it's simple to do the research, but they just want to set because he's got that Mongol. Look, I got people in Russia who are fighting in that war, just like Ukraine, who look Chinese, who are Mongol. They don't see oneself as Chinese or white, or they see themselves as Russell. And I'm not talking about because everybody here calls themselves American. I don't call myself American. I don't give a damn how you feel. I just don't. You ain't gonna take another word and make up some bullshit when I know a lot of words in this so-called language belong to my ancestors. Because I'm Chickasaw, it's not even how it's really pronounced. It's the Choctaw on my father's side, 100%. And then Anahuia with a Dutch and some China and a couple people married into the family. You're not going to take that. There's no way. I don't care about any ignorance in my family of the youth coming up by these false teachers. The discrepancies are there. Like, I don't care. They're not even in my league to debate me. Matter of fact, nobody is. To be 100%. It's because I don't pull, I don't pull out my gun, which is fully loaded. Doesn't mean it's not there. As far as they don't debate me here and they don't debate me anywhere else. So what makes you think some monkeys on a platform are going to come along with their little feelings and they're going to dance? No. We've got a lot of Negroes. I mean, come on. Well, where are these Mongols in Cuba, Santo Domingo, the Caribs, Haiti? Where are they at? Because if they took 50 to 150,000 all around the West Coast into Europe and all them places, and those Negroes, if they took them all there, so where are they? Because the Chinese are the Chinese, the Japanese are the Japanese, the Koreans are the Koreans. So where are the Native Americans, and we're talking about thousands, that they took over there who prospered? I'll wait. Or down there. Andros Islands, where the fuck are you? And the phenomena of Hawaii, right? They all went over there during the 1950s. And damn near whitewashed them. And you got Hawaiians who are speaking their truth. Saying we're brothers and sisters. You got the ignorant motherfuckers who I know are just like the ones here. Who want to call you a coolie or whatever the word is. All right? The thing is, if they don't teach it, and you got these fake ass preachers and ministers and imams and everything else. Most honestly though, I gotta say this on some solid stuff. I ain't gonna talk too bad about the Muslims because there's a lot more Muslim brothers and sisters who will tell you, no, you're indigenous to this land. And hell, I am too. And as far as the narrative of religion goes, I can accept Islam being here long before Christianity. Christianity is some new age bullshit. I don't care how you feel in your little fake world of whiteness. Or your niggerish individuals who are sucked them in frats. And I know some people who are part of like Sigma and Delta and all that, and they're not confused like the rest of them. They're like, no, this is what they say. I'm a cut from a different cloth. When we're talking about people who got the brand Q and all that stuff. So, I mean, hey, there's a difference everywhere, right? The thing is, when I speak solely on the ignorant. It's not on those who have an idea or they're receptive, but they're not really sure because they're not sure of the information. Most people are not that well edited. They don't have that good enough etiquette to go and do the research or purchase the books. That's why the books still collect dust on the shelves. You know what I mean? They don't have direction, focus. Like, I showed y'all about 4 or 5 books, right? I got like 20 books on the so-called Americas and the people of the land. Quoted by the people who have been misquoted. And by the fake people always talking about debunking something. And they never read anything, put tabs. They always tell me, I read this book, and this is what it says. And I'm like, 21st century or 20th century book, huh? Yeah, okay. That's just grand. And then they get all up in their root. And then they attempt to re-qualify something based on something as intrusive as 1700, not knowing that even the individual who they're looking at is a whitewashed narrative, and they haven't been to the friggin' country to see the real portrait of the individual who's supposed to aspire to wrote this literature. I mean, you can't make it up. I see it all the time. I'm like, oh, so we got a couple of them damn little Arab Sephardic motherfuckers down in South America. Oh, well, live up in America. Excuse me. They're not down there. It's the ones here spewing a whole lot of goofy shit who can't own a firearm, got about 3 felonies, been locked up. You know, they got the browns and the black, the goofy niggas in prison, you know, who should know better. But now there's more people in prison who know who they are. And then you got the people saying, I'm going to get with the spiritual side of working with the Indians, not knowing who they are. But now that's changing. And a lot of the people, you never see them in Louisiana with the old heads, because the old heads always knew what they were in the prison system. They're the ones that kept the narrative. Nigga, like Georgia and all that, Alabama, you know, the chain gang, they always says, no, they're making us slaves. As if they knew they weren't slaves before that. The U.S., the United States, is not, they don't represent us, nor do we represent them. These corporations. America and its mispronunciation, which they do every damn thing else, like Chicago, Shalaga, and everything, it's until you realize the reality of the truth. Like the Carolinas and all that, Georgia, that didn't exist. When they talk about the countries within this continent, it was a handful. Now they done dimmied out, and because they didn't create nothing. Talking about we drew lines in Texas, and no, get out of here, New Mexico. No, get out of here. When haven't you ever seen the pictures of so-called black, which was Indian Wall Street, which wasn't even called Wall Street. It was just where the most money was made. A place that the people returned to that was empty, and they built it up. We're talking about a striving, not struggling city. We're talking about multiple city, but we're talking about a city with a city people. Not as much of Pelicans and Spaniards and all these other individuals running around in there like they're the shit. And niggas who don't know nothing, and a bunch of Africans who went there. Oh, y'all ain't more, and then the story they tell, no, them niggas fought back and whooped everybody's ass and rebuilt the parts that were destroyed. And got vengeance on the motherfuckers that was killing people. Oh yeah, they had the army come in because they were the fake ass government were the ones dropping them turpentine and kerosene bombs. Attempting to burn it the fuck down. We're gonna get to reading. I just had to put that out there because I'm so tired of these wayward, mind-boggled, brainwashed Cabbage Patch children and these little orphan Annies. I really am. It's unbelievable. You can run up on my ancestors' land with your fake narratives by these bastards who desensitize and then they desensitize, unsubscribe you, then resubscribe you to a narrative they painted. There's nothing true about it at all. None. And you think we still want to be around here building this shithole up they destroyed? And that's what they done, built up destruction and worthlessness. Ain't nothing good about it. Only the monkeys who thinking they're getting something because they don't know the truth of history and they accept the enemies and they believe they're great behind it are the fools. All these sisters and Joes are walking around my restaurant. They got money. Oh, nigga, you about to be in a world of pain. All these brothers talking about, feel my Lamborghini. And you too can have this vehicle. Shut the fuck up. All the little monkeys running around in something more toxic than gas and diesel. That's that damn electric shit. Do you know how much gas it takes and coal and the shit to produce the charge? They're not getting it from the sun. They never let you have that because the energy's right around. I'm so tired of dumb, and you liberals are just the dumbest damn people I've ever seen. What happened? Whoo! No. Why do you think majority of the Negroes are looking at Trump? And they brought all these fake people in. But you don't get to see all of them because some of them ain't in these cities. That's the diversion. We bring them in, only goes that way, but we saturate you so you stay right here, confused and conflicted and arguing, explaining. But in the black community, sound like a damn retard. And because I'm an African American, you stupid fuck, and all this dumb stuff. Everybody I know from the land of Nubia on that side of on that part of of our earth that I talked to, and once I served, said we ain't know nothing about no goddamn slavery to America until they was teaching us that them French and them guys. That's why I said they're all working together, these motherfucking Ashkenazi. But until they started teaching it in them schools, to which a lot of them felt like the school was worthless, and they were teaching them the shit that we created. The things that we made without acknowledging the fact that we made it. Giving these fake patent grabbing fucktard these fake Zionists, giving it to them to build and to subjugate the people to a lower stat after wars. So I told you what happens after wars. You know what I'm saying? But some people they didn't fuck with because there wasn't nothing fuck with. My family was larger than a motherfucker. I mean large. But they're not who they used to be. Not all of them. All right? Okay. Right now, we're going to get into chapter 6. The lands of Mars, 178 worlds under the Great Dome. Okay, when the next book comes in, we're going to get right into it. It doesn't matter where we're at. Okay, because I need to, I've only looked at certain things. I need to read the book in its entirety. And I need to, and it's by Claudio Nicelli. Excuse me, my apologies. I need to read it in its entirety. But regardless of what I sit up at night reading, the next day, well, I'll read a lot. The next day, I'll read and bring y'all up to par and I'll be able to discuss some things in it. All right. So let's go ahead and knock this in. Chapter 6, the portal hidden on Mars. Now you got to remember, the land of Mars is right next to land of Set, which is the Anunnaki lands or the Sea of Horus. Okay. There's a portal. No, right off the back. There's a portal that was shown to the first humans who set foot on the lands of Mars. At least humans of the past reset. The portal was old and had ceased to be used, but nevertheless, they believed it was still dangerous to manipulate. For that reason, it was shown to humans as a learning to stay away from the forces that surrounded it. In fact, if humans were kept at a relatively close distance, and it generated several health problems, exhaustion, dizziness, and other symptoms that also forced them to stay away from it. But according to the writings of the custodians, this distance was not always respected, and the following happened. Now, in parentheses, it states, the following writing was incorporated into our history files and modified for your understanding. Some parts are verbatim, but the complete file is stored separately. And there are thousands of interconnecting portals that transfer matter from one side to the other, but many of them are old and obsolete. Unfortunately, it is common for some beings to find them and try to use them and end up in the worst way. There are reported cases of beings that have disappeared or were even found in distant continents with great health problems, or where they are no longer the same. Okay? It's heavy stuff, man. All right? And tomorrow we'll get into chapter 7, the dark membrane and information behind the Great Dome. The Gods of Eden by William Bramley. Okay. Okay. What's this rest of the day? See, I don't remember where we're at. No, the day before. Now we're back into, we're somewhat California, all that stuff, the mystery schools, right? The mystery schools not only twisted spiritual knowledge, they greatly restricted public access to any theological truths still surviving. Only the pharaohs, priests, and a few others deemed worthy were accepted into the schools. Initiates were required to take solemn vows never to reveal to any outsiders the secret wisdom. They were taught students were threatened with dire consequences if they broke the vow. Now, these restrictions were reportedly established to prevent misuse of high-level knowledge by those who might degrade that knowledge or use it harmfully. While this is a legitimate reason to develop safeguards, the restrictions imposed by the mystery schools went far beyond simple security. Entire social and occupational groups were denied membership, and the vast majority of the human population had no hope of entering the schools. Now, their access to any surviving spiritual knowledge was therefore severely limited, and the biblical revolving sword preventing access to the tree of knowledge was being put into place by those who ran the mystery schools. The mystery schools caused spiritual knowledge to evaporate in another way. The schools forbade its members from physically recording the schools and most advanced teachings. Initiates were required to relay the information orally, and there is no faster way to lose knowledge than to forbid its being written down. No matter how sincere and well-trained people may be, word of mouth would invariably result in changes to the ideas being relayed. And with the word substituted here and in a sentence omitted there, the semantic precision needed to communicate an exact scientific principle will be lost. This is one way that a functional science can quickly degrade into an unattainable superstition. Now, as time went on, the Brotherhood became so restrictive that it excluded most of Egypt's own priests from membership. This was especially true during the reign of King ToLU'S III, who ruled about 1,200 years after Cheops. ToLU'S III is best known for his military adventures, which expanded the Egyptian empire to its greatest size. According to Dr. Lewis, ToLU'S III took the final step of transforming the Brotherhood into a completely closed order. He established rules and regulations reportedly still used by some Brotherhood organization today. You can't make this kind of crazy up. And you see that today. That's why I say a lot of these people are perversions. They don't know no truth other than the truth of lies that they exist in. And some of y'all I know belong to it. I was watching this goofy Negro on was it a TikTok or is it on Instagram? Anyways, some of these goofy Negroes, it's the funniest things I've ever seen with all this Masonic 33rd. Come on over. I'm just looking at him like this. If he only knew what he was doing, but most of them don't, because when you're falsely equipped with faulty equipment, what do you think happens? No matter how long you use the faulty equipment or how well the faulty equipment works, when it's faulty equipment, it has a time span or a time limit. Reptilians in the History of Humankind, Anunnaki by Henry Crane. When we're talking about the diaspora, dispersion of the Jews, known as a wandering people and homeless, right? Okay. Enlil could not stop the free will of Nero, so the only thing he could do was to contact a member of his chosen people and advise him to flee with the greater number of people he could. He did this for the sole purpose of not wanting to lose his few worshippers on earth. However, despite all these murders and prosecution of the followers of Jesus, his words, teachings, and followers continue growing. Enlil realized that the Draconians were right. The message of Jesus was so strong that it could not be stopped. So he began to do the opposite of what Jesus preached. Jesus did not want churches. So in the 69, Enlil advised Rome's new emperor, Vespasian, I forget how to pronounce that, another hybrid to his service, to build a church in the name of Jesus, which would be in charge of the Roman Empire. Vespasian did not understand this advice, since the persecution of the followers of Jesus was at its peak. However, he decided to follow the advice of his God and put in charge in charge to Lenin, a man of his confidence who was to become the first pope in history. Meanwhile, in the fourth dimension, the Anunnaki were monitored by a small number of the Draconians who had stayed there because the leaders went to make a formal complaint to the Galactic Confederation. Anu was called to Orion by the Draconians to give his own words and tell the members of the Galactic Federation what had happened with Jesus. After he did this, Anu took this opportunity, and on its return to the fourth dimension, he drifted his way and went in search of the Usumagal leaders to tell them all that the Draconians were doing. After listening to him, the Usumagal leaders brought a complaint to the Reptilian Council, composed by the leaders of all reptilian races, since the Draconians had hidden information about the arrangements that were carried out in the Galactic Confederation, and had not shared them with the Reptilian Council, which was a serious violation of the reptilian laws. Now the Draconians were called to trials, and were dismissed from their posts as representatives of the reptilian race in the Galactic Confederation. The Draconians realized of the betrayal of Anu, since he also spoke before the Reptilian Council about everything that had happened with the Draconians. After several reptilian days, the Reptilian Council did not come to an agreement, and the Draconians declared war on the Usumagal, the Kingu and Sutum, since they did not want to lose the power they had in the Galactic Confederation. And the only race that remained on the sidelines of this conflict was the Amosuton. The fifth great reptilian war was about to begin, and the Draconians knew that this war was not convenient, but they had no other choice if they did not want to lose their power before the Galactic Confederation and their human farm. Now, even though I'm reading this, it could be a certain group of Pelicans and Negroes portraying themselves outside of who they are in a way to be dismissive. And I guess with all the cartoons and the fantasy movies, you keep people conflicted in their head as to not recognize who the enemies are. Anything's possible, right? DNA of the Gods, the Anunnaki, creation of Eve, and the alien battle for humanity. Got it? By Chris H. Hardy. Oh, just to let y'all know, Chris H. Hardy is a female, I guess. The human to human, God's the shadow side. That's my boy is coming back, okay. The Anunnaki, unfortunately, his girl was walking the dogs. I had some treats for him, but she went in too quick, so I'll give them to him in a minute. The Anunnaki, unfortunately, also showed many of the negative traits we now associate with humanity, and sometimes to a degree that is not permissible on Earth anymore and is despicable to us. Overwhelming rage. One of the Anunnaki's most noticeable traits of character is how easily they fall prey to uncontrollable and overwhelming rage. They are constantly angry at each other's actions, and whenever they feel that their privileges of rank within their territory of command are put at risk, or if their own inflated egos are offended, they immediately get into a fit of rage and launch indiscriminate and venomous action. Not only do they overact, but they are simply devoid of any ability to assess their own state of consciousness or to weigh and reflect on their impulsive decisions and vengeful schemes. Self-examination and making excuses are unheard of. If this trait, rage, is commonplace among them, Enlil, the supreme god on earth, has it in excess. Like Inanna, he is excessive in many aspects of his personality, but unlike her, it's to the point of overreacting and being unable to assess a situation globally. One example, speaking for itself, in Enlil's violent reaction when faced with the revolt of the Anunnaki working in the gold mines, the report of which is part of the Atrahasis epic, translated by W. Lambert and A. Miller, That's another book. Enlil travels to southern Africa to check on the work done in the gold mines directed by his brother Inky. And he is, of course, given a guest house. Now, the Anunnaki set up a revolt to show him that they are overwhelmed with toiling and working in the mines. They take up to arms with their working tools and set up fires and surround Enlil's house, say the tablets. Enlil, enraged, took up his weapon, but he too was reminded by his chamberlain, "My lord, these are your sons." As Enlil is retained prisoner in his guest house, he connects with Anu and asks him to come and solve the problem and gather an assembly of the gods. During the deliberations, Enlil, still enraged, demands the death penalty for the chief of the mutiny. He puts it as an ultimatum: either the leader's executor or he would resign. We have to remark here that the rebels have voiced their grievances with strong words and acts, but that at no point was the life of Enlil really at risk. It takes Anu to hear and understand the woes of the workers, and he sides with them, refusing to give in to the vengeful stance of his son. That's when Inky will propose to create a primitive worker, and that the assembly will vote for it. Next, we'll be discussing the jealousy. We'll go through these each day. We're not going to sit here and just beat you in the head with a whole bunch of them. So when you want to talk about we as a very stable group of people who aren't so emotional, why is it important that they have us with our emotions all over the place, raging and doing dumb things, lashing out without thinking about the consequences, and then want to act as if, oh my goodness, I made a mistake. And then the others who want to play crazy because they know they're going away for a while, so they got to set the tone because of their ignorance. That's not who we are. Never was. I told y'all the story. I read to you how on my mom's side, on my father's side, how when they were fighting, if the man fell, the woman was just as strong and capable, would pick up and fight in his stead. All of this is facts. We're talking about women who can run for miles. Things most men can't do today, they could do 2 times to 3 times better. It doesn't matter what you think or what you believe. You weren't there. I'm reading this stuff and I express this stuff because it's based on facts. How can you be chemically lobotomized, chemically downsized, chemically trodden upon, your genetic genome disturbed, manipulated in ways that's unfeasible or fashionable, and poisoned with intention, and still partaking? That's like traumatic head injury without the banging and sloshing around, of the Christ fluid and the brain between the cranium. I mean, think about it. So let's get into the Wars of the Anunnaki, Nuclear Self-Destruction in Ancient Sumer by Miss Chris H. Hardy. We're going to go ahead and keep that correct. Okay? The mysterious creator of all. Last we read about the institutionalized kingdoms and faiths. No, actually, yeah, yep. And the king gods of the cities. Remember that? So the first couple was taken back to the Abzu. At one cornerstone meeting of the assembly, the Anunnaki decide that they are too lofty for humanity. You know what I mean? In the Epic of Etana, which we read the other day. Okay. So the mysterious creator of all. Sometimes in the tablets, but still quite rarely, comes the mention of a creator of all, referring to a mysterious, powerful entity, maybe one that had created the whole entire universe. We have an example. When the radioactive cloud from the blast of the Sinai and 5 cities in the ancient canon drifted and erased all life in Sumer, in parentheses, human, animal, vegetal. Human, animal, vegetal. Nobody running around hunting and killing and eating meat. Apart from Babylon, mind you. The assembly of the gods, and in parentheses, and first among them, Anu and Enlil, and interpreted as a sign from the creator of all, that he has singled out Marduk and his protege. Okay? And consequently, they decide to give to Marduk, at last in parentheses, the Enlilship on earth. That is the rank of foremost God and chief of command. They do not seem to know that the Visu, this creator of all, at least the way the earthlings knew the Anunnaki walking among them and abiding in their temples on earth. Now, the way, for example, an earthling king describes being the lover of Inanna, okay, and their embrace in her garden, even as late as the 6th century BCE. Cyrus, the newly chosen king, had ridden side by side with the god Marduk toward Babylon. It seems this enigmatic creator is invoked whenever the course of events, the destinies, takes a turn that clashes headlong with the Anunnaki's own decisions in their assembly and councils. Each time they are shown to be utterly wrong and, from our own standpoint, immensely unwise. Now, while this creative all appears rather unknown, distant, or else abstract, they are willing to trespass into his or her attributes and function. Now, we can see this indirectly in the way they are very careful to stress that the beings they need as workers already exist, so that they will not create souls or beings, but just optimize the genome, the tree and essence of life, of already existing souls. They are just perfecting or fashioning a being in the sense of engineering or upgrading him, a being who has already a soul, and in parentheses, that the hominid woman, and on whom they will graft their own genetic imprint by binding or merging the two genomes. One more paragraph. Now, in the Astrahasis text, after Enki had proposed to the assembly to create a Lulu, a primitive worker, the gods thus assembled pondered how to bring forth a being intelligent enough to understand and carry out orders, says Enki. Now, the creator whose name you uttered, it exists. We just have to bind upon it the image of the gods. In other words, as the Sumerian text explains it, God and man should be bound. Now, you know we're not Sumerians. God and man should be bound to a unity brought together. And the term Lu that gave Lulu means man, both in Akkadian, that's the Atrahasis text, and in Sumerian, in Sumar. But it also means mixed being, Lulu. I know there were those wondering, what the is a Lulu in that? Yeah, well, there you go, with prefected times based on stories rewritten and retold to create the ideologies and the people exist today, so that they'll be fighting. Like I said, if you take a whole bunch of children, raise 3 generations, and tell them that as we see red, tell them it's black, and as we see black, tell them it's red, that if you was bringing those million children back after about 8, I don't know how many generations, you would have a war. Not by all, but you would still have that contingency. And that's a fact. So, I hope y'all enjoyed that reading. I got to run and grab some, just 2 bottles of water. I mean, I could just drink 2 of the ones in there, but those are, I rotate those and keep them just in case. You know what I mean? So I'm going out and grab just a couple of them, maybe 4 or 5, I don't know. Oh yeah, but where they are, I eat a lot of fruit. But whenever I do decide to have 2 or 3 days where I drink Cashapp, because tomorrow I'll be Cashapp, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is Cashapp. I use ganados, I use pineapples, I use a mango if I find good ones. I don't buy them and hold them just for 4 or 5 days. Stupid. Blueberries and strawberries, and I like to eat, but on those days when I have it, I juice 2 Cachappas, pretty big, about 16 to 20, and sip that for about 25, 30 minutes, and then I do another one in the afternoon, around 2, 3 o'clock, and that's it. And I don't display it. Y'all saw me when they drink it, right? But you didn't see. I didn't show you no more. You saw me. I drink my Rise mushroom coffee all the time. You dig what I'm saying? But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed that reading and everything. I was dropping tea, right? But I'm gonna run out here and get that. Come back, and I'm gonna lay down for another hour or so, and then when we come back, we're gonna hit the 100 years of lynching, and the Britons, America. We're going to go through those, and we're going to save William Cooper for tomorrow. Okay. I don't want everybody to run around, you know, stressing about things. What's going to be is what's going to be. We can change it. What's going to be is what's going to be. All right. So we all came up in here. Yo, BE, what's going on? Blood, what's happening? Peace, brother. Herbo, yeah, I got you already. T. Hines, what's going on? Gratitude, number, love, respect, brother. So you guys share this. Again, Santos Bonacci. It's Santos Banaci or OCI. No, it's ACI. Bonacci. So yeah, check him out. If you can find his stuff or any of his stuff, have a look. The one where he makes that statement about New York, San Francisco, America, the whole fake ass U.S., but this land, Amaru, I call it Africa. And I always will. He's talking with this gentleman, and the gentleman is on the right side. If you're looking at the screen, the gentleman's on the left side with a black shirt on, t-shirt like. And Bonacci's there with his gray, blue, whatever that is, Check him out, man. You can follow his history, see all the things, court, what they try to do to him. He was telling the truth about a lot of things. You want to use the word flat earther, he doesn't believe in round earth. And he's pretty damn good at sharing information about that for those who want. I saw one or two as we don't, but I don't need to see it. I always believe the earth to be flat. I don't, and immense, bigger than you can even imagine. So I don't give a damn about all these fake people and fact checking bull crappers. I don't care. This is the beautiful thing about this land. Imagination. Without it, it wouldn't have existed. And the worst imagination was the lies. So it keep people from the truth. Now people are coming into the truth of their imaginations. That's dangerous for them. That's why I say don't put everything out there. All right, just don't. Okay. And appreciate y'all. I'm gonna run to the store, get this water, get my ass back, and go to sleep. Let's shoot for Friday and shoot for some more books, man. So, like I said, people have been hitting it off good, and I appreciate that because I've been throwing numbers out there. But I would like to get some of the books. Some of them are 19, some of them are like, I think 2 of them are $13.75. But I like to be able to get like 8 or 9 of the books. And you don't have to worry about the ones that are like $60 and $75. I'll take care of that. It's only a few of them. I'll take care of that when it comes around and I share the book and say, what do y'all think? And if you want to go ahead and assist in it, then I'll put it up. Who would like for me to read that book? Regardless, because we're going to get there one way or the other. I don't care if we're in some dark, hollowed out cave or someplace up under the ground that we was able to find. And the openings are everywhere. You just got to know where to look. And we'll get it done. You dig what I'm saying? Like I said, you can send 2, 4, 5. It doesn't matter. Just log it in, and we get these books in here. At least they'll be here. We don't have to worry about the post office now is in the business, armed up and everything, to bring people in the back and busload them and drive them out to their next destination, somewhere in the desert where they've established and built things that you know nothing about. I'm just saying. If they're talking about 15-minute cities all around the world, you better believe they have them out here. 20% from Nebraska, 20% of the population to the West Coast, a bunch of dummies. You have no idea. Okay? You have absolutely no idea. Keep you comfortable in the pot. Keep stoking that fire. Some of y'all's pants, your horn parts should be hot like on the griddle. I'm serious. Y'all should be like, whoo, child. Whoo, I'm just a sweating over here. What's going on? You feel me? Yo, Chris, what's going on, beloved? What's cracking? Appreciate you coming in. But I mean, share this. I'm going to continue to read like this, so now that way you can incorporate and have your grandmammy, your grandpappy, your mammy-pappy, or whoever. Your wife or your husband, you have them sit around and say, hey, look, check it out. You know what I mean? So we can keep it pretty clean. Excuse the F in the beginning, but you know how when I talk about my ancestral land and what these things have done, You feel me? So let me get with y'all in about 5 o'clock, about 2 hours, right? Because we're right at 3, I guess. It's slow. It might be a little more than that. But I appreciate y'all coming in, all right? Sisters that come along, I know they're messing with everything because they're dumb. You know, these YouTube dummies and the little agents. I'm not going to call them chaos. The agents are stupid. And to the brothers 2 and 1, and I'll see y'all here shortly.